Okay, so in this video I'm going to explain how to use another tool from the book The Tools called the reversal of desire. This tool is called the reversal of desire because it evokes a mindset shift combined with a 10 to 20 second process that acts as a trigger to face micro moments of pain throughout the day and put yourself into forward motion. Another way of describing the pain is resistance. And if you've read the book The War of Art, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's like going through the day, especially with creative work, or actually with me, it's just any type of work. Especially when I don't have to be doing it. If it's not someone when I'm not like when I'm at a job where I've actually got pressure from someone else to do the job. There's all this. If my natural inclination is just to not move into forward motion and just be like waste time. Sometimes I think it's just me, but I think it's pretty common these days. A lot of people have this problem. So I think this tool is actually probably, of all the tools, it might be the most important. But it's also the one that I find is like the hardest one to do consistently. It's the one that, I don't know, it doesn't, like the last week I did the Grateful Flow tool, which is kind of a very easy one to do and it always works. Whereas this one is like, you've got to be like, you've got to be like determined to use it and a bit more, because it's a bit harder to implement. So, some basic examples of when you might want to use this tool. Getting out of bed, especially when you don't have to get out of bed and you're tired or depressed. Starting exercise when not feeling motivated. Starting work on the computer on an important task, especially one that will drastically improve your life. Like today, I was supposed to work on my album. I've had the whole day off and I haven't fucking done it. And it's like, I'm going to do it after making this video, but it's 10 o'clock at night now and I've had the whole day off and I've wasted time. I've spent the first few hours of the day kind of just messing around. Then I did some kind of unimportant tasks and all day I knew what I needed to be doing. But this is the resistance. So this tool, it's teaching you to face this resistance. But even though I know that this tool is used to face the resistance, and I've read The War of Art and I've read the tools, I still have trouble using it. So that's why I'm saying it's not an easy tool to use. Some other examples of when you might want to use the tool. Approaching, say, people who you're scared to approach in social situations, especially when sober. That's a real difficult one. That's why so many people drink, is because they find approaching new people and that threat of rejection from people so scary. Making phone calls or texts, especially difficult ones. Another thing that I find difficult to just do is I've got so many little chores to do. And say somebody is saying, hey, can you just send me this MP3 or something? And say if it's like a link, I'll send them the link, right? But if they want an MP3, because it's a little bit more work, I might take 2 weeks to do it. And then they end up being like, how come it's taken you 2 weeks to send me that fucking MP3? And it's just because it takes a little bit more time and it's not that important. So it's always at the bottom of the list. So it just never gets done. And so it's just like there's all these little resistance things like just do that thing, do that thing, do that thing, do that thing. And if you become a master of facing this resistance, in the book they call it pain, but I prefer to call it resistance because I guess you can call it pain or resistance, or the authors some say it's also a type of fear. But I prefer to think it as resistance. The natural human inclination to avoid pain feels good in the short term, but in the long term it keeps us in our comfort zones and limits our potential. The more you try to run away from or escape pain, the more likely it is to come back to get you later. For example, if you've got something to do and you need to do it, you're only putting it off by not doing it today. You're putting it off till tomorrow. And like that, you'll never get to a point where you can just stop. You might be able, you can take a day off, you can take 2 weeks off for a holiday, but as long as you're alive, you're going to have to accept that there is constant work, and basically you need to face the unknown as well. There's a lot of unknown about life, and that's why the natural human inclination can be just to be like, well, I'm just going to stay in my room and stay safe. I think that is one of the reasons why I was very against the whole lockdown, stay safe stuff, because I think it makes people even more frightened of life. Whatever benefits there were of all that stuff that happened in 2020, I felt that there was a lot more negatives, and one big bit is that people just they just want to stay in their comfort zones all the time, including myself. Pain has to be faced and dealt with in order to move through it. You will have lots of mini fight-throughs you have to win every day in order to be the best version of yourself from moment to moment. The universe is calling us to action in these moments. Another way of looking at it is that you are trying to defeat an inner enemy. This inner enemy is labelled by the authors as Part X, and I made a previous video about that a couple of weeks ago. We have a choice whether to listen to the sort of internal self-sabotager, or to sort of face that call to action, take responsibility. We always have the choice to respond. We always have the free will to face this internal pain. There is a space between stimulus and response where we have the power to choose between remaining stuck or taking action and moving into forward motion. So I'm going to describe the tool now, and this is directly from the website. I'm taking this from the tools website. So the cues to use the tool. When you have something to do that's uncomfortable and you feel fear or resistance, use the tool right before you act. The second cue occurs when you think about doing something painful or difficult. If you use the tool every time you have these thoughts, you will build a force that will allow you to act when the time comes. So say during the day, you have something to do later, and every time you think of it, use this tool, because you'll be training your mind to then do it in the moment. You'll be more likely to do it in the moment. So this is the tool in brief. It's in 3 parts. Number 1, face the pain. Focus on the pain that you are avoiding. See it appear in front of you as a cloud. Silently scream, bring it on, to demand the pain. You want the pain because it has great value. Number 2, move towards the pain. Scream silently, I love pain, as you keep moving forward. Move so deeply into the pain, you're at one with it. And again, I swap the word pain for resistance, because that just makes more sense to me. And number 3, freedom. Feel the cloud spit you out and close behind you. Say inwardly, pain sets me free. Or I'll say, resistance sets me free. As you lead the cloud, feel yourself propelled into a realm of pure light, and at that moment you take the action. And for me, when I use the tool, that's when I start the timer and I start working. And I just did that now, actually. The higher force you're evoking, forward motion. The higher force that drives all of life expresses itself in relentless forward motion. The only way to connect to this force is to be in forward motion yourself. But to do that, you must face pain and be able to move past it. The reversal of desire lets you do this. Once the tool connects you to the force of forward motion, the world is less intimidating, your energy is greater, and the future seems more hopeful. Yeah, another thing about this is once you actually take the action, your energy increases. And there is some sort of lie that I tell myself, and you might be telling yourself, which is taking action is going to reduce my energy, but it actually increases your energy. And if you don't believe me, then just try this out for yourself. And this is something that I forget all the time. But then every time I use a tool, I'm reminded, oh, I'm actually got more energy now. That it's staying stuck, which is sapping your energy. Especially if you're like just scrolling through Instagram. That's what's sort of sapping your energy. Now, obviously, when you have to sleep and eat food, that's fine. You eat, you need more energy then. But just in terms of just normal energy, you should find that by taking action, you actually it gives you more energy. So I have used the reversal of desire tool on and off since about 2016, but after using it consistently for about 6 months, I just stopped using it. If you go back to some of my earlier videos on my YouTube channel, Tommy Coyle Music, you'll actually see me in when I'm making a couple of those early videos, I close my eyes just before I start singing, and that's actually me using the tool. I think you can actually see it on some of those early videos. Because those early videos were very hard for me to do. I felt a lot of resistance over doing them. Now I don't feel as much resistance. There seems to be part of the human condition that believes that we will one day be exonerated from having to do constant work. Hence why it seems to be the way that people just give up using tools because they think, oh, I've done enough now. So just be aware of that. You might use this tool, it'll work for you, you'll get great results, and then you'll be like, oh, I get that now. Therefore, I don't have to use it anymore. But if you can, just start using this tool a few times a day, in moments when you have to face resistance. Maybe start using it. Say there's one thing that is the one most important task that you need to get done every day. Use it on that as a way to sort of train yourself into it, and then maybe start using it more and more. I would also recommend listening to, just reading the book, The Tools, and listening to a lot of the Phil Stutz and Barry Michels podcasts, just so you can start to buy into their whole philosophy. Because you need to kind of internalize their philosophy. Avoiding pain keeps you in your comfort zone. Avoiding pain takes the joy out of life in the long term. And avoiding pain / resistance is actually unnatural. It's not natural to procrastinate. It might seem that way if you've been procrastinating for years and years, but it's not like, your natural way of being a man should be to be like taking action. And I mean, women too, but men especially. It's like that is part of the masculine spirit, is to be in constant forward motion and just doing stuff, and then resting, maybe taking active rest. But then, I just find that I feel much better when I'm in forward motion. And the authors of the book say, don't look for an 100% success rate with using the tool. Even 50% is amazing. And don't give in to the what the hell effect, which is, oh, I'm not doing it perfectly, therefore I'm going to stop using it altogether. It's just a tool that is going to make your life slightly better. The reversal of desire tool could also be thought of as an if-then implementation intention, which is if X happens, then you do this. It's a bit like an AI robot. So it's like just if you could train your brain like a robot, if you could train an AI robot to say, if it's this time of day, I'm going to use a tool, do this high priority task. And then if you could train an AI robot to do that, why can't you just train yourself to do that? Another thing that Phil Stutz says is, don't think. Thinking is the thing that fucks you up. It's it's so simple, but it's like so much of success is in taking action and not thinking. But certainly my natural inclination is to think and think and think, and just like search for more and more information and avoid the high priority task, thinking that I can somehow like think my way out of doing anything. And I'm getting better with this, with taking action, but you know, I definitely have struggled with this. You know, with kind of overthinking rather than just facing resistance and taking action and accepting that there's going to be outcomes that are outside of my control, and just sort of living with that. I can't think myself out of doing something. Another quote that they use in the tools is, "He who conquers others is strong, but he who conquers himself is mighty." This is like about an internal struggle. And again, a very good book which is related to this tool, The Reversal of Desire, is called The War of Art by Steven Pressfield, which is a book about facing resistance and winning your inner creative battles. Okay, so that's the end of the video. Catch you later.